All right, y'all. This is part two
Part
because
two.
one of Ivy's friends, trifling friends, had to make a had to make a phone call,
Trifling.
and I can say
Ooh.
that because chances are, if we were using my phone, my mama would call 6 times, and
Oh
before the
my
video was
God.
over, y'all know she would be calling the police saying my son didn't answer my call.
That's right. Sorry,
which is-
Melody. That was my sister. He called you trifling, girl.
No, I didn't, Melody. I don't know you. But
I'm
anyway,
joking.
I accidentally used a bad word. If it ends up on camera, it's because somebody doesn't know what she's
I'm
doing.
gonna cut and paste.
She's going to do
The
part one
price
and
is
part
way
two.
too hot. I'm gonna cut it.
Now, when we left off, we were talking about trifling eyelashes that look like paper mache.
Mark don't like eyelashes. Just
no,
admit
I
it. You
just-
don't like the eyelashes.
I just don't understand. Like, why would you want to make yourself not look like a real person?
It makes you
Because
look better
no,
for
it does.
us.
No. The stuff that I saw in the doctor's room, and the lady looked at me, and I'm gonna tell you a little story about this lady. She's looking over at me, and she's looking at the machine with my numbers, and I looked at her and I said, honey. She looked at me. I said, don't ever in your life play poker. She said, why?
Why you say that? Though?
I said, what? She said, why? I said, because you're taking my numbers, my blood pressure and my blood sugar.
Uh-huh.
And I said, and I can totally read your face. And
Oh, I thought you
you know,
were saying
you're
something
you're
else.
not somebody who should be playing poker. She says, well, how do you play poker? I said, poker's all about, faking the person out, not having a tell, and get into all that later.
Okay.
She says, well,
Well,
you
that
think you
was
know what the
nice.
numbers are? I
I
said,
thought you were gonna say
I can
something
I can
crazy.
tell you I know exactly what the numbers are just from looking at your face. She says, what? I said, I'm guessing that my blood pressure is probably 150 over 90. And I'm guessing my blood sugar is probably right now about 315 from the way I feel and the way you look. And she says, well, actually, you're not that far off. She says, your blood pressure is 142 over 98, which is extreme.
That's high.
And she said, and your blood sugar is 295.
That's
And
not
I said,
good.
well, but it's getting better slowly but surely.
Okay,
So
praise the
anyway,
Lord for that.
but now I'm going to teach y'all women some things. Are y'all ready?
Okay, let's hear this, women. Y'all ready for this?
Y'all
Let's hear what
ready?
you got to say.
Y'all ready? This is what I would like to call, instead of how to train your dragon, how to train your man.
Okay.
Stop pointing out your what perceived flaws. Now, unless you got those big paper mache fake eyelashes that about like a foot from your face going flippity 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 flip, okay? We notice that. All right.
Okay.
But now, we as men like certain parts of a woman,
Uh-huh.
okay?
Okay.
And those are the parts that we are focused on,
Alright.
okay? And like when you ladies say, oh, I can't stand my elbows, they are ugly elbows. I guarantee you, your man had no idea you even had elbows. So if you just shut up about your elbows. But if you say it enough, okay, and I've dated women who have done this, and they say, oh, I got some ugly elbows. Eventually, I'm looking at those elbows going, ooh, that's some skank
We
ass
just-
ugly elbows. You got to do something about those
We
elbows.
do that because we want to be validated by our man. Oh my, baby, ain't nothing wrong with your elbows, girl. Come here.
I'm telling you, but if you
You know
say
what
it
I'm
enough,
saying?
we start to think them some ugly elbows. The man never knew you had elbows.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me I'm wrong.
They don't know this, but you know,
Guys.
if it's something that we have insecurity about, we just want our man to say, baby, I love them elbows, them big elbows. Bring them over here, girl. For us big girls, we got big elbows.
So y'all know this week when you're praying for the show, you're gonna be praying for Ivy to get her mental health back because ain't no man gonna say, bring these elbows over here, baby. It's never.
I'm just saying,
going-
if he see that his girl feels bad about it, he probably will say, baby, fine, girl. Ain't nobody studying them elbows. But are you saying guys don't like that?
No, guys don't notice it until you bring it to their attention.
Okay.
And then we'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, she keeps saying the elbows are ugly. They're finally going to take their eyes off the parts that they like. They're going to look at the elbows. They're going to...
Ooh, well,
That's
don't
what
do
it is.
that.
And they never would have done that
Sorry.
if you shut up.
Okay.
Okay?
What else us women need to do according to Mark? What we need to do?
Y'all wanna know how to train a man?
Uh-huh.
I can tell you how to train a man
Which kind of sounds like you telling
Nope.
us how we need to be and what we
No,
want.
I'm telling you how to train your man
Okay.
to be what
I
you
ain't
want
got no
him to
man.
be. Okay?
Got no man.
I ain't got no man either, or no womans. Okay, not to train anyway. But anyway, listen, check this out.
Okay.
I had a friend one time, she came to me, and she kept complaining about her then boyfriend, who was a doctor, and they lived together, and he would leave Diet Coke cans all over the house, empty ones.
Ooh, I can't stand it.
Drove her
You
crazy.
better throw them cans away.
But he wouldn't. He'd leave them in the bathroom. He'd leave them in the kitchen. He'd leave them in the living room.
He's doing too
Drove her
much.
crazy. And she said, I kept saying something to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't do anything. I said, I can fix that problem for you.
Okay.
I said, but you've got to do word for word what I tell you to do,
Okay.
and to never deviate it from what I'm about to say, no matter how much you want to.
Mm-hmm.
She said, really? I said, you got to promise to be 100% in, or it's not going to work.
What you had said.
I said, one day your boyfriend
Uh-huh.
is going to throw away a Diet Coke can.
Okay.
Okay? One day. Now, it might be 6 months from now, but one day he's going to do it. And when he does,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to look at him and you're going to say, honey, baby, sweetheart,
Mm-hmm.
pumpkin peaches, whatever the heck you call this man, you're going to say, baby cakes,
Boo.
Batman, if you with me. That's what
Little
they
Shorty.
just call me Indiana Jones. But anyway, whatever. I don't think you want to call a dude Little Shorty.
Little
But anyway,
Shorty.
whatever that is, that like a thing?
Oh, no.
Okay. Anyway.
If I had a
But
boyfriend
you're
he
gonna-
was short, I'd be like, yo, little shorty.
Okay. So listen, you're going to say to that guy when he throws away that Diet Coke, and you're going to say, "Honey, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me and doing that for me. That was so sweet." Now he probably wasn't even thinking about you when he threw it away. But he's going to get that praise, and he's going to like it, and I promise you he'll work for it some more. And she called me about 3 weeks later. She said, Mark, because that's what I go by for the back before my name was Remarkable. She said, Mark, you're not going to believe this. I said, well, I probably will believe it, but what's up? She said, I did exactly what you said. She said, it almost killed me the first couple of weeks, but as soon as I started praising him, I want to say his name was Mark too. She said he started throwing away the Diet Coke cans.
Why
And
you
she
gotta
said,
be told?
we,
Why you gotta be told?
Why do you
gotta
have
be
to
told?
ruin this educational sweet moment? Okay, I'm trying to take
That's a lot of
something.
work for
it's
something
not-
a grown
all you
man
gotta
should
do
know
is-
how to
no,
do.
First of all,
Okay.
first of all,
Stop leaving your kids all over the place.
those men, such as myself, who have been single for a while,
Mm-hmm.
we're not accustomed to thinking about somebody else being in the house.
Okay.
God knows
Fair
it's
enough.
difficult for me to learn to live with Farrah, my dog, who does not want to calm down.
Okay.
I told Farrah, I said, Farrah, if you don't calm down, I'm taking you to the taxidermist. And she just looked at me like she wasn't taking me serious.
Well, she be calm now, bless her heart.
She did calm down finally, but she gets real uptight when people come over.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be when people come over, she hide under the chair. Now she wants to be social. But my point is, for men, especially men that have been single, we get kind of set in our ways.
Yeah.
If you nag us about doing something, it's never going to motivate us. But if you
Mm.
take those opportunities to praise the man,
Yeah.
he's going to love that because he loves you. And believe it or not, no matter what kind of person he is,
Mm-hmm.
unless he's one of those people who won't keep a job, those kind of men are entirely different.
job.
Yeah, I know.
Bums.
I know. If
Keep a wet white.
women,
piece of
women
try
are.
to
Hey,
touch
why do
you.
women support men and keep men that don't have a job?
I don't know. I don't understand that phenomenon. I mean,
It's
I did when I was in my
crazy to me.
20s, but you know, as a grown woman, absolutely out of the question.
I mean, to me, it seems like, why would you want to be with a man who's obviously not an alpha male if he's not a provider?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
It's the vitamin D. I'm just telling you, that's what it is.
Jesus.
That's
Lord.
what it is.
Lord,
That's why.
Please, God, please.
Why else would he be there? He ain't got no job, which means he ain't bringing in no money. He ain't putting no gas in the car. He ain't contributing to the bills. Why else would he be there?
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just
I'm just going to say,
asked.
and basically, I guess that's one word and one letter. You have explained it all to me. But for the life of me, like, even
That's
like,
why I'm
like,
telling you.
like I don't care. Like somebody once asked me, like, what do you want from a woman? Like, do you want her to have a job? I was like, yeah, I want her to have a job because I don't want her to be home. I don't want her to be bored all the time because I'm going to work.
Oh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you believe in the 50-50? Because you know there's a whole thing about
No.
50-50.
No.
So you believe that you should pay all the bills.
No.
So what you believe in?
I believe you both put in 100% of everything. And there's none of this, like if we're married, there's none of this my stuff and your stuff.
Okay.
It's over. Now, I do want to say this. If you're in an abusive relationship or if you're with a man who won't work or a bum or something like that, go ahead and start putting some money away so you can hopefully get your act together and stop being stupid. Because let's be honest, people, if you're with a man who won't work, you're stupid. That's all there is to it, okay? That's the problem. I told my mom this the other day. I said, Mom, the problem with today's world and today's society is we don't tell people they're stupid enough, okay? And because we're so sensitive and we're never
sensitive,
and nobody's saying you're stupid, people are doing stupid things. We gotta.
Some people like being in relationships like that, though.
Okay, I do not. I don't want a woman to be a provider, but I don't want her to be lazy and boring either. I don't want to go to work because I get up, I go to work. I'm at work by 6:30 or 7:30 every day.
There.
Okay.
Okay. It's so much to unpack there because what do you mean by boring? But we ain't gonna get into that.
What I'm saying is like I don't want to go to work every day and then be calling home and be like, hey honey, how you doing? Oh, it's 1 o'clock. I'm just getting up, and I'm like, really? Because I'm gonna be home soon.
Okay.
Okay. Don't you got anything to do? Don't you have any? Do something. Do something. And if you can't get a job, go apply at a nursing home or do some volunteer work.
But she keeps the house clean. She cooks. She gives you that good loving. She's doing things.
Okay, the women that I know that don't have a job have dog crap under their beds. That's all I'm going to say.
Jesus, okay.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
I don't want
Men,
to.
drop a comment because you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well,
Now, a lot of these men, the men who don't know what I'm talking about, you got good women.
All right.
Okay, you got good women.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
I don't got no man, so this is a miss to me. But
But when you get one, I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna say, "Sir, what do you do for a living?" And if he says he's a manager of a Dairy Queen, I'm gonna say that is wonderful. You have a job.
Absolutely.
If he says he doesn't have a job currently,
you ain't even meeting him.
I'm gonna say,
because I ain't with no man ain't got no job.
But I'm just saying, I'm gonna say, "Sir, go get yourself a job, work it 6 months, and then come back. Otherwise, we don't want nothing to do with you."
Would you be insecure if your woman made more money than you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I'm not money motivated at all. I actually wish that I was, but money does not. And my friends, and I won't mention Joe Benson's name, but he used to always say to me, I just don't. Why are you laughing at that?
It's just funny. Every time you do it, it gets to me. It's my weak spot. I'm not gonna mention no names, Joe.
I'm not gonna mention no names,
God.
Joe Benson.
That's
but
right.
anyway, he used to always say, "Mark, you just don't want stuff," and and he knows me. Like I don't want anything.
Yeah.
That's why kind of like gifts, more or less, a lot of times annoy me because you're buying things that you want, and then you think I want it, and it's just garbage around my house.
Okay.
That I gotta throw away because I don't want. Now books I like.
I'm about to say gifts. I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, gifts are just usually for me they're kind of worthless.
Yeah.
Because people will buy stuff that that they're interested in, but people don't tend to buy things that you're interested in. Speaking of Dairy Queens, did you know they're closing a bunch of them down?
Really?
They are.
Why?
I guess they ain't making no money.
Well, dang.
They need a Dairy King to come in there and fix everything for
Those
them.
cups, the prices and the cup sizes don't add up to me. Because you got those little cups and they be like $7. And you're like, really?
Is it
and
any wonder?
It's not big enough and the price, it just don't match up. The marketing is horrible. The pricing is, get it together.
Even worse.
So,
Even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I have one question. I had a lot of problems with my cars this week.
Oh, don't speak about cars.
But I just want to say one thing.
Okay.
So I was doing some car research, doing car trivia.
Mm-hmm.
And this was kind of surprising to me, and I've been waiting all week to ask you this question. What is the number one thing left in cars?
The number one thing left in cars.
Mm-hmm. By people.
Shoes.
No. Good guess, but no.
Keys.
No. I kind of thought that one myself, but nope.
Left in the car.
Number one thing people leave in their car.
Food.
Yes!
Ah!
I can't believe you didn't say wallet or money or purse, but yes,
No.
it was food, and I never would have guessed food because my fat self ain't leaving no food behind.
Me either.
Okay, when I read that, I was like, "Are you sure?"
That's
So I had to go to
weird.
like other resources and check, and they all said
Yeah.
food, and I'm like,
That's weird.
because let me tell you something, even if I left it in the car, 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes later, I'll be like, "Where's my pizza?
Right.
Where's my milk?"
Every time I buy chips and I wrap them up like I'm gonna save them later, they don't even make it like past the next
No.
week. Like, it's not
I
even
got
food.
some to-go food today from work.
Okay.
I had it eaten before I left the building. Okay? I had it all
Hungry.
eaten. And then I came home and had my lunch. Okay?
Dang, he was real hungry.
So I'm just saying this business of leaving food in the car makes no sense. Hey guys, listen, we have to go because it's getting late. We want to thank you for visiting with us. We want to thank you for encouraging us and supporting us in the sweet things you say.
Yeah.
I do want to remind you, Gospel Zone, that book I've been reading, it is amazing.
Oh,
Okay.
Gospel Zone.
The Gospel Zone, it's by Andrew Farley, I think is his last name, John
Okay.
Lynch, but I've showed it to you in other episodes. Listen,
Okay.
folks, if you're going to a church and all they're telling you all the time is you don't do enough, you don't do enough, you don't do enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, what they're saying is what Jesus did on the cross was not enough.
Mm.
And that is blasphemy.
Ooh.
And the Bible says teachers will be held more accountable than the rest of us. God help them all. But I'm just letting y'all know.
Maybe they say that because they want us to push harder. They want us to give more. They want us to, press harder in His presence. Because, my bishop, sometimes she goes into that tangent too. Love my bishop. But, I think sometimes they're, like my bishop, she's 91. So she's real seasoned in the faith. And she just wants her people to push harder and, so maybe that's
Read
the
Colossians.
motivation.
Read Colossians. I think it's the second chapter. Paul basically says that rules are ridiculous because rules do not change you. The Spirit of God will change
Hallelujah,
you.
it does.
Okay?
Yeah, it
So
will.
if somebody's telling you read more, if somebody's telling you to pray more, somebody's telling you to do anything more other than seek God on your own,
Okay.
that's what's going to change you. The presence of the Holy Spirit in your life. Okay?
Right.
Works is never going to do it. And if you're doing these things, not for fellowship with God, because that's what I believe we were created for, fellowship with God. I believe angels were created to serve Him, and not only do they serve Him, they get it right the first time, whereas we continue to fail and to mess up and screw up and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I reject any gospel of a human being. I love it when they say, you're in the flesh. I'm like, what are you in? What are you in?
Jesus.
You ain't got the same stinky, need to be washed, deodorant needing, toothpaste needing, skin and bones just like me, so shut up. Shut up. It's about God. It is about Jesus. When I get focused on what Jesus has done for me, how Jesus has completed me, how Jesus has molded and changed and loved me, that motivates me to change.
Yeah.
That inspires me to change,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
When you tell me I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, you're not doing enough,
Right.
and this is my favorite. There's a small group of people out there who hate the chosen. You see that?
Don't get me started about the
The
chosen.
people who don't like the chosen.
I love the chosen.
You know why they don't like the chosen?
Why?
Because they don't like the humanity of Jesus. They
Well-
don't like the fact that Jesus was fully God and fully man.
Yeah.
And God had a sense of humor.
He had a real big sense of humor.
Don't shout me down when I'm preaching good
As a matter of
folks.
fact, he said, if you don't come to me like a child, you can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. So, I'm just saying,
Y'all
he had
got a
sense of
whole lot.
humor.
Y'all got a whole lot of preaching today,
was
and we didn't
funny.
really mean to.
And the Bible also says that there's so many stories. What he did was so thick, the Bible couldn't contain it all. So he is, I love how the children depicts Jesus in
It's
that
because it does a
human,
great job.
comical
Yeah.
way. I love it.
But the people who don't like it because they don't like the gospel of grace. They like the gospel of works. And if they tell you that different, there's two
Well, you
things
can't
that
buy
they think.
it.
One, they're delusional about
Yeah.
themselves, and two, they're liars.
You can't buy
and
it.
look at y'all. Look at my cards, just like David Letterman. Guess
Oh,
what?
my
This
goodness.
week, What do we want?
Food. Oh. We want your week to be as good as your favorite song. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on with me. It's been a long week.
For those of you who are not looking at the camera right now, I'm having a nervous breakdown.
Sorry. We want your week to be as great as your favorite song. Okay?
We love you, everyone. Thank you. She's supposed to piece this together. Hope it works out.
It
Have a
will.
good week. We'll see you
Bye.
next week.
Love
If
you
there's
guys.
anything you ever want us to talk about, put it in comments.
Comment.
And we'll talk about it next week. We love you.
Bye.